What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of The Bright Side, where we talk about all things marriage and family in a real way, but a bright side point of view. Today, I have the privilege of having two of my very, very, very dearest friends here. Matt and Shakeemah, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Very fancy.
Nah. Be cool.
I thought we was gonna be at the crib with the kids.
Nah. Oh no! I'm tripping.
What?
And also, I can't forget the co-host.
Oh, thanks.
The bright side of marriage.
Yeah.
The bright side of marriage is sometimes you might be forgotten on the podcast. But it's all love.
It's all love at the end. It's all love.
Dang, I'm probably
It's all good. I forgive you. I know your heart.
good. But yeah, so I had to start by, like I said, I said it outside, but I really am appreciative of y'all coming here. I know that y'all lead very, very busy lives, and I said to Ricky, I was like, I don't know why, I was like, I'm nervous, but I realized like y'all probably one of very few people who opinions I actually care about. So I was like, damn, like I want to do good in front of my friends, like that's that's one of the joys. So like I'm saying it, but like I really like mean it. I appreciate y'all coming. You know that the world, especially y'all world, gets busy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank
Of
you.
It's very, very busy.
We all, like you said, like we are like real friends. Like this ain't like
Yeah.
Yeah.
a fraudulent thing. So we gonna support whatever you got going on.
Yes.
You make time for your friends, you know.
Yes.
Facts.
And I appreciate it. For those who don't know, he said Shakeemah here is one of the superstars affiliated with Sir Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right.
Brother Matthew here is the designer behind this shirt that you probably saw at the NCAA tournament and clothes that everybody on here is wearing.
This one. That
So
Episode sponsored.
yeah, sponsored by
hat.
First and Foremost. So they big time. So like y'all really big time. And I think when I was thinking about having like y'all on the show, it really hit me. It's like ever since I've known y'all, it's like y'all have essentially, and especially like now with everything y'all have going on, I feel like everybody's looking like, oh, like y'all like couple goals, and like really be like saying it and knowing y'all, I'm like, damn, like y'all really kind of are that. But even I think before that, like for me, as long as I've known y'all have probably been like the anchor in like y'all circle of friends. Like y'all have been like the people that even are around y'all like kind of look to as like, all right, that is like the standard. So I feel like y'all have always been like this position of influence. And that's I'm just saying. But it's like seeing that, do y'all feel like the same way?
Never really
Absolutely
thought
not. Like, I don't know. Absolutely not.
I never really thought about that. Like, you know me. I just be in my own world. I do just like straight ahead thinking of like Maverick, what I could do, what I could bring as far as like clothes. Like I really have like a small trapped mind where I just keep my thoughts really to myself, and when it's like figured out, then I'll like text somebody like, hey, what you think of this? What you think of that? Yeah. And I never really thought about that, like, oh, we're couple goals or stuff like that. That's kind of weird.
It's actually creeping me out a little bit. Not creeping me out, but like tripping me out. Like, no, I mean, like, no, not at all. Like, I don't even know where to begin. I think, I don't know. I thought we just kind of been
we be chilling,
just rocking and kind of figuring it out on the spot and
but
trying to make sure, like we're living our lives, but also obviously like in the marriage, but still like living separate lives. So maybe that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just never like really thought about it like that.
But that, like I said, I didn't think about it because especially like I mean I feel like especially in like the Instagram world where you see people just like being like I think it's like on the course that you always gotta be on somebody else on Instagram. Right. But it's like, but like I said, when I thought about it, I'm like going back to, let's say like even 07 I met Matt. It's like I ain't know him, and like I said, never even seen him at Cheney. But then it was like I look at him like we became friends. Like how do we just like kind of like magnet together? And then 09 rolls around. It's like who's always like the not in charge, but it's like the person that stands out the most when y'all came. It was like is you. So that's why I'm like, it's really been since kind of like day one. Y'all be like the people that people gravitate towards.
Right.
And look to be like, oh dang. And you just like see people, and I like I said, in myself, that's why I was like, dang, I really care about these niggas' opinion. And I'm like, normally not. I be trying to be like, oh nah, they just. I do what I want, but I'd be like, damn, like I hope Matt and Shakeemah like they approve of this. That's why I'd be like, I'd be sending like y'all was probably the first people one of the first people I like told about the show, and like even other stuff when I write stuff I send out like, all right, like what y'all think about this? Cause I don't really be I don't like people getting inside.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Well, that's an honor.
Same here too, you know. Like with the clothes, first one like, well, second.
We just keep being left out.
Disrespect.
But I'll definitely send stuff like, yo, what you think about this? Like, oh, all right, change that up. Nah, I'm feeling that. And, you know, it works out because, like, I see, like, the attention that everything gets. And I'm not a person who likes social media. Like, that's the funny thing. Like, I have to post because of the business. I have to try to post a day, or if I can't go 3 days without posting because then it's like, oh, nah, they out of business.
Yeah.
So it's like, I hate social media. Like, everybody who knows me knows that. Like, I really just post. It's like an extension of my wife and my kid. Like, but then again, I don't like posting them too often. So it's like they'll get like once a week. I'll put like funny things up, but social media is not for me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just because you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as like couple goals, like I feel like the reason why couple goals is like a thing is because particularly with like black couples, like black love, you will not see that too often. Like a black couple that's actually like married and they're flourishing and it's not like some type of drama like surrounding like their relationship. So I feel like that's why people are so willing to like lift you up and be like, oh, couple goals. But not that you're not deserving of it. Because I mean, you guys are doing your thing. But I feel like that has a lot to do with it. But that brings a lot of pressure, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, you know what I just thought about too? Like, we were together, we were so young. I mean, y'all were kind of young when y'all got together. Y'all were
young too.
But we were, so I'm thinking like, at that time when we first got together, like, I was a sophomore in college. So my, like, people ain't dating in college, not you know, in relationships in college. You're like out living your life. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, and for a lot of the times in my friend circle, I'm probably the only one that's in a relationship because everybody out there living their lives. And I got stopped. I was about to be outside, and that's like,
not in these streets.
Come park it. So maybe I'm thinking like going back to like what Steph was saying. I think maybe it was because like we were kind of always in a relationship, especially in our friend group. When I really started being around y'all, we were always together.
That's true. You guys have been together for a long time. And
I've been together for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, before you got married, you guys were together for like a really long time.
Yeah.
Because y'all was together when I was at Westchester and stopping by like, all right, Keemah, when next time I see Crystal, say this, that, the third too.
Put me in the middle.
I definitely was trying to get every oop I could.
It worked.
I'm about to say it's working.
Right.
It worked.
Yeah. Dang.
Some years and some kids later.
Right.
And the podcast.
Right.
I'm about to say, so I guess what's the, and I think also part of the, especially with y'all, is like, people see like the glamour of like your job and see the glamour of like, damn, like who's wearing Matt stuff, like having like that, but they don't really see like the other side of like that. And like for those who don't, like, Keemah ain't been home like 10 hours. So it's like coming here, it's like, what is that, like, what's like that actual struggle? Because like I said, all they see is just the like, oh, it's just, it looks like it's just so popping, but it's like, because I gotta make it look like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that too, and like just to like touch on social media and like what people see is like, that's a part of my job too. Like to make things look good, to make things look cool, and not to say that they aren't, and you know, in real life. But I'm not posting like me literally every time I need to go to work, I'm like sitting by myself for like 5 minutes, like, damn, I really gotta leave my family. Like sad, like I'm gonna miss something. From my son now, especially like when I was working before and traveling a lot, I'm like, oh, I could just text Matt, FaceTime Matt, like do whatever. Like he understands. He's an adult. He's an adult. He understands. Now we have a child. It's like, oh, I don't know, like how he's feeling, and like he's fine. Like he cares about me, but now he's 2 and like wow, I'm doing whatever. But for me, I'm like, I got to do this, and also even on the flip side of that, just like. It's a lot that goes into even leaving and preparing to leave and making sure like the schedule, like Matt has a full-time job too, so him being home with Maverick, I'm trying to make sure that schedule's laid out, like we have the food and stuff that he needs in the house or whatever, and trying to minimize whatever stress we put on Matt while I'm gone. It's just a lot of preparation, a lot of like sacrifices and saying like okay, this is a day that we have planned. Like this week I said earlier this week, I'm like, we don't have nothing to do this weekend outside of coming to Philly for stuff. Like we're gonna be Saturday, we sleeping in, we cleaning, it's gonna rain too, it's gonna be, and then I get a call Thursday like, can you go to Baltimore on Saturday? And I'm like, I technically can, but so it's like it's those kind of decisions. And I always say like, one of my coworkers asked me about like, because women don't have children really that work in sports, because it's just like we try. Like, I got a call on Thursday saying, "Can I go somewhere on Saturday?" Like when you have kids, that's hard to to do. I like usually I'm like, I need a week's notice at least, just to make sure I'm prepping the house and stuff like that. But it just happens that like Matt has been like is really supportive of my career, and so I can allow myself to sometimes let work take a step ahead of like what I have at home, because I have somebody who's encouraging me to go, and then also able to hold it down at home. I think that's just like that. Without that, it would literally be impossible.
Right.
Unless I had enough money to get a nanny, then also. but like seriously, like it's very emotionally draining. But then and it's like, and I don't even think it's just my job, because of like what I do and how often I'm gone. But I think that's for women, like in every industry. It's like this: you get so attached to your children, you get so attached to like who you are as a wife, who you are as a mother. And then you let your career and other aspirations that you have kind of get away because you want to focus on this thing, which is so important. But like, there's a whole other part of us that we had before we had children, before we got married, things and goals and stuff like that we wanted to have. And it's easy to like, you could lose that. In the sense of like wanting to just prioritize your family, which like some women do, and like that's fine for them to do. But I'm trying to make sure that I understand and realize what I've worked so hard for, what has been my passion and all that, so that I can keep going. Because if I don't remember that, then...
So how do you balance that? Have you ever had to like let your boss know like, this is getting to be a bit much, I need to pull back because now I can't have that like healthy work-life balance where I need to do what I need to do for my family?
Yeah, so the first time before last July, I was like just throwing everything on myself. Like, I just got to figure it out. Like, I got to be able to do all of these things and be a mother and be a wife and do all of that. And we were literally, it was the day we moved, we left Connecticut and moved back to Jersey. Oh, yeah. The night we moved. So that day, Maverick is our son. I don't know if people don't know. Maverick has never really been sick. Like, I'm like, okay, 20 months of breastfeeding works out because like, he got this, he got this good immune system. He's never been sick. Like, he was sick one time, and that's when we got hit with a Marion. And that's the one time he was sick. And he was the last one to have symptoms. He was the last one to have symptoms, the first one to feel better. I'm like, oh, the breast milk really works. Like, he's good. So he's never been sick. And so we were moving from Connecticut back to Jersey. And it was crazy because that, like, we had to move on Friday. On Saturday, I had to go to Chicago for the WNBA All Star. I'm like, it's fine. Like, we
NBA
don't.
also.
No, it's WNBA because it's July.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But Maverick's like sick. He's never really been sick before, so he was like sick, and I'm like, all right, we'll figure out how to like. But then during the day, he was like fine. Like he was sick, but he was still like mobile and moving or whatever. Then when we got to Jersey, he had like a little bit of a fever, and I'm like, I'm a little bit nervous. My kid's never been never really been sick before. I don't know what to do. Never had a fever. And then now I'm freaking out because I'm like, my flight was leaving at 6 a.m. It's like 8 o'clock. He got this fever. And I'm like, all right, I don't really know what to do. And so I get up the house is a mess. We're overwhelmed. Moving was horrible. So we were just very overwhelmed, and I had to get up at 3. I was getting up at 3 o'clock to like do my hair, do whatever, then go to the airport for a 6 o'clock flight. And I wake up and he's like burning up. I'm gonna shower. I'm like, and Matt's like, it's fine, like I'll handle it, whatever. But like, they could never handle it like we can. I'm sorry, they never.
There you go.
They can never. And I'm like, you're an excellent father. You can't handle him. Like I can handle it. It is not. It just doesn't work. And at that time, I was still breastfeeding him, so it was like that was the one thing that was able to comfort him. He wasn't eating. He wasn't doing whatever. So that was the one thing that was able to comfort him. And I'm like in the shower, and Matt's like, just get in the shower, like wash your hair, do what you got to do. I'm in the shower. I am like bawling, crying, because I'm like, how am I gonna leave my baby who has a temperature, who's sick? I'm bawling, crying, and I'm like, I can't go. Like literally, I'm supposed to get on a flight, and now at this point it's probably like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm like, I can't do it. Yeah. And so I just called them. I'm like, I cannot go. Yeah. And they were obviously like super understanding and like whatever, and I'm like, my son has a fever. Yeah. But even if they weren't, I was like,
it's too bad.
Like, y'all gonna have to figure this out because like, you know, and I think also too, like a part of me, I was so in hindsight, I'm like, you should never be like, not even, I wasn't scared, but I've never done that. I've never I've always took trips. Like I've always, left at the drop of a dime if somebody needed me, and has always been able to travel and go, even with Maverick. But this time I just was like, I just really can't do it, and you shouldn't. In hindsight, I would never feel like I shouldn't be able to do that. But I think it was also too because like and I have women as bosses, which is also another great thing, but they don't have children, so like, you know, it's. They can have compassion, but people can't really. They don't understand. Exactly. Yeah. But thankfully they did, and they were fine with it. But I was nervous that they weren't going to be. Right. And like, what would they think about me? So now, what does that mean for my job? Like, does this put me? Right. And it's just all these crazy thoughts that, you know, was going through my head. But at that moment, I'm just like, oh well. Like it just like I have to literally tend to this. In this moment, or I would have been miserable on that trip. Yeah, like miserable. I would have felt terrible. I wouldn't have done a good job anyway while I was there. So I would have just went for no reason. But I think that was the first time that I had to really choose my family over work.
But that's great. They were so understanding. Yeah. And it probably does help having a woman someone that you report to, because even if they don't have kids, like they know that there's like a struggle there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but that's great, because it's like, I know for myself, I feel like Black women in general, depending what like industry you work in, you have to like work twice as hard as like your counterpart. So I know that if I had to deal with a situation like that, I probably would be struggling as well, feeling like, is this going to now be a missed opportunity for me? Are they going to say like, well, if this is an issue now, could this be an issue in the future? It's like, you just never know. But luckily, at least you have your employer is like very, very reasonable. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. Some people don't have that.
It's crazy though too. Yeah. Like life happens.
Right. Yeah. And you shouldn't have to sacrifice something like being a mother just to be able to excel in your career. But unfortunately, that's the reality for some people. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And like, I'll say, even like, to me, even like listening, it's like, one, that's like crazy. But then like, you have to watch all that. Like, it's like, you got to watch the like struggle and like, say stuff like, nah, like just getting in the shower is cool. Yeah. Even like, no matter like, so what do you feel in that moment of like?
It puts you at a tough place, because it's like, me, I'm like, I got Maverick. I know I could take care of him.
Yeah.
But he was like, that was like his first true sign. So I gotta be strong and say like, you know, I got this. I could do this. I don't think I got this.
Really, you don't think?
I don't think I had this.
In the back of your mind, you're like, please just.
I'm thinking I'm just gonna buy him whatever he wants. Is it Chick-fil-A fries, pizza, whatever he wants? I'm buying it.
Right.
And then just try to hope for the best. Yeah. But at that moment, it's like you just like, oh man, you just gotta say like the husband, the correct answer. Like, nah, because I know that, you know, this trip was already planned. We already figured everything out. So it's like, I just need to step up in this moment. I know he's sick, but whatever he needs to get done, I'll get done.
Yeah.
Cry about it later. But, you know, right now in front of her, just say whatever she needs to hear.
Yeah.
Encourage her to, like, take the trip. But when she says, you know, I just can't do it, I gotta support that decision, which I wanted to support. So it's like, oh, I can't go. Oh, I understand. Right. I understand.
I completely
thank
what
God.
else do you need for me to help you?
So it's like you gotta support the decision. And it's like my job, like my 9 to 5, I could disconnect. Like I have a work phone that I turn off promptly at 4:30. Sometimes before. But it's like I could disconnect from work. My work doesn't transfer over.
Right.
So it's like I have that, as well as I'm a business analyst by day. So it's computers, it's spreadsheets. It's not people work.
Right.
It's deadline stuff. And so it's like I have the luxury where I know my job. I can do my job with my hands tied behind my back. So it's like I can have everything under control. So that's why it's like not too much stuff gets to me. Yeah. Like my coworkers don't know me like that. So so it's like I could call in sick for like a whole week. Nobody will contact me. Nobody will send me flowers. But I'm just saying, if they do see it, you don't know me. But it's like I could disconnect from work. She doesn't have that luxury. Yeah. So that's like a thing where it's like I work a 9 to 5, come in, come out. I do have a couple coworkers that care, but you know, I can still like do what I need to do.
Yeah. Dang. So, and it's crazy to think about because like y'all jobs really like they mesh like perfect. Like
it wouldn't work if it didn't.
Yeah.
And the fact that like even the fact of like post-COVID, like we can both work from home. Yeah. Like it's so crazy how, I mean, that's God.
I was I'm like, it's
how that works. Like there's no way.
Yeah, that really is like a God thing, especially.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
But I think I feel like most people, and I know I like for myself, like I'll struggle when I'm like home with the kids, but like still like trying to do stuff, and it'll be like, dang, like I want to do like this, or like when I first like graduated from like Villanova, and like people like send you jobs, and I'm like, oh, like let me just do this to like. I think one was like, oh, you want to teach a class at University of Arts, and I'm like, I'd do it just to say like, yeah, I teach at University of Arts, but like kind of like had to like check myself, cause I'm like, all right, if I go do that, now I'm like throwing like essentially our whole life off, not even for like a lot of money. I'm throwing everything off just to I guess like feed my ego to make it sound like, oh yeah, I'm doing something that's important. So that's like, I don't know, it's crazy just like seeing like how God works and actually being able to like acknowledge it. Yeah. And that's
no, for sure. I mean, like that, like right now, childcare is the number one. Oh yeah. the number one thing in our lives right now, and so it's like, all right, we have these things going on during the day. What is Maverick doing at this time?
Right.
He's not in school now. I need him to be able to fully tell me who did what, when, where,
exactly how I
he ain't going, he ain't going in until he could tell me that lady did it right there. And so until then, he home rocking with us because gratefully and thankfully we are fortunate enough to be in that situation, being able to work from home. But yeah, like that's the center of it all, and I think that is also too why my job is able to work too, because like yes, I am going to different places. And I need to, even if it's just like regional, like, but I could still be able to take Maverick to the park in the middle of the day to like let him burn out some energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like take, you know, like it all just about like it really, the job is actually fitting into my lifestyle more than, you know, my lifestyle is fitting into the job.
Now, is it because of COVID that you both get to work from home, or you were working from home before that?
So, yes. So I started my old. I wasn't at this job when COVID started. I was at ESPN, and we were remote for like that whole first year. So I didn't even go back. I never went back to ESPN after COVID. Even before I left, they just packed my stuff up in a box and sent it to me.
They shipped you out literally.
Shout out to them.
They sent all my stuff in the box. So I never actually, And then when I got this job, it was kind of like we have a New York office, and I go in there every once in a while or what have you. But it's pretty much like I'm on the road a lot, or just like kind of doing stuff from home, going, you know. So I'm like kind of out more.
Okay.
But we do have an office that I can go into, but I just have the luxury of being able to, if I need to be home. Like,
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that's a blessing for sure.
Yeah, I had a flex where I was teleworking 2 days, and then once COVID came, they recognized like, you don't need to be in the office. So I have a new position, but now I go in the office once a week. You know, if that.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
He be going in and try to get away from us. I mean, I be on the same thing. I'm like, I gotta go in the office. I gotta go in the office on Wednesday. We be like battling. Who gonna take us in the office first?
Who turn to escape?
Gotta get out the house the fastest.
I'm like, I'm gonna be going to the office more. He's like, you gonna be going to the office more? We gotta figure out this situation.
Right. Dang. And like, so I guess like listening to that and like seeing where we are now, like getting to this point, I guess going back to, and one thing you said, like, guys, like going back to like the beginning, and it's like even like the dating part. Did y'all have like that this would be like the vision of like, is this what y'all pictured life being? When it's like you starting like to set it up and like, you know what? All right, we dating and we're got regular jobs that's not like these jobs yet, but it's like, I guess like having like a vision of how you wanted like your family to be was like, was this it? Or like what was that in that time?
No. I didn't know what I thought it was going to be. Honestly, I don't even remember what I thought it would be like. Like, I think I had an idea of like what I wanted to do with my life and career-wise, and then how I wanted my marriage to be, but they never met. Like, I don't think I've ever like envisioned
like how does
the
that
two
work?
together.
Right.
I don't think that I like it just is happening. I've thought about it too. I'm like, because before we were planning to start a family, that we started 2020. I was turning 30 that year. I had like 2020 was gonna be my year. I was turning 30 that year. I had all these bucket list things, and I'm like, all right, at the end of this year, I'm actually trying to plan a pregnancy at the end of that year to be in line with work, because I was working only on basketball at that time. So I'm like, all right, I gotta have a child at this part of the season to make sure. Even like when we got married, like we got married on like our date just had like a lot of meaning or whatever, but it was also like a dead period in during basketball season. Right. So I'm like, all right, this works. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do all this in 2020. And in hindsight, like obviously COVID happened, and so all that got shut down, and I'm just like, all right, we got time. We could probably try. We could probably try. I don't know when we ever going back outside again. But in hindsight, like I don't know if and at that time, even at ESPN, like I was kind of like climbing, like I was like doing really well at work. And I don't know, like if I probably would have kept pushing it off. Like I don't know if I would have made time to like say, okay, I am ready for us to, start our family or what have you, because I think I just didn't see how that could be possible. Like once I was actually, now I'm married and I'm in my career, I'm like, where does a kid fall in all of this? Like, we have a good thing going on. Like,
Yeah.
it works. We're comfortable. Like, we're doing good. We're able to travel and go when we want. Like, he could come to work on work trips with me. Like, we we chilling. Like, this is where this baby gonna go?
Right.
Yeah.
Where this baby gonna go?
That does complicate things a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Make it a little bit difficult. So I'm like, we had a good thing. Had a good little situation going on. And so I don't know if it was like wasn't for COVID that I would have slowed down at all. Especially if I would have again started this, where I am now. Like, I just don't see how in that mindset that I was in then. Now I'm in a totally different mindset, and I understand it is possible. I'm doing it, and there's ways, and you'll figure things out. But like in that moment, I'm like, I don't know where. I mean, I know I gotta give him one because, like, I knew he wanted a kid before. I knew he wanted a kid before we got married. So all right,
I gotta give him one.
I gotta give him one at least.
Just one.
Yeah.
And then figure it out from there. But yeah, I don't. It honestly, like, God has just been like at the center of our entire marriage and has been dictating all this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that is it, because I couldn't see it. I didn't envision it. I didn't we didn't plan for anything to be, in any particular way.
Right.
It just all started falling in that place.
Dang.
Yeah, COVID gave us time to reflect because we was always on the go looking for a trip to go to, what we could do, what events. Like, we was really just
We used to
into
be outside. I mean, looking at pictures like, dang, we used to
we
be
was
out.
into ourselves. Like, we had a good thing. Like, we was really best friends. Like, let's go to the movies. All right, we out. Let's go to a sporting game. Like, we out. Like, anything we wanted to do, we was doing it. So it was just like we was being selfish. Like, we could rightfully so, but it's like we didn't think of a kid.
Right.
And then it's just like, we're home.
What's next?
I don't know when we're gonna come outside. So it's like, it was a weird time, but like, it worked out. Like, we figured it out. We came together. Had a amazing birth. Come on.
Amazing.
Come on now.
Amazing.
Come on,
It was all right.
She was pampered the whole time, so she was taken care of.
She still owe you shirts, right?
She owed me wife beaters. She owed me everything. She ripped up everything.
Dang.
Do you know what I went through? You know what you
Right,
owe
that's
me?
natural birth right there.
I mean,
And it was a home birth,
out.
right?
Yeah, we had a home birth.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah,
That was dope.
it was tough.
You ain't getting them shirts back.
Yeah, it's not happening.
If you don't going down to the Target. Yeah.
No, but it worked out. Everything perfect. Like, God upstairs authored it. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm about to say, I feel like, because even when you were saying, I'm like, I really don't think we had a plan.
No, and actually, I was thinking that,
we had no plan.
and I wonder, how often do people really have, a plan? I feel like it's something that you should have. You should definitely have, a vision. But if you're not really, in tune at that time, I feel like there was, a lot of spiritual growth that we both had to do. So we weren't, necessarily there to even think,
Definitely.
this is what we should be thinking about. We need to have a vision for, us individually, as a couple. If we're going to have a family, what does that look like?
Yeah.
But it's definitely important, but we ain't had one.
Do you think though that when y'all decided, because people always say you're never gonna be ready to have kids,
Right.
do you feel like it was just did you give it a little bit of thought before you went on? You just was it was because us was spur of the moment kind of thing, all right, whatever, let's
Before we had Madison.
I feel like before we had Madison, we had talked about it, and I think that we were
I feel like we felt like the timing wasn't right, because we actually, we waited 6 years before we actually decided, all right, let's get off like birth control. So we weren't gonna get pregnant while I was on birth control. It just wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we actually had the conversation maybe like 6 years in, and it wasn't until that point it was like we felt like we were in a good place just in our relationship
us,
period, because it was a little rocky. We had our moments, but it was like that's not even like a good place to bring like a child into a situation. Like you got to get yourselves together first.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that too.
Right. A lot of people don't, but it's so. I mean, some people can make it work, but it's like some people can't.
Yeah.
And for us, we felt like it was better.
Working.
Right. It's not
That's
working.
true.
It's not working.
Like, why add another level of complexity? Why not try to get
And some people
yourselves
think
in
the
tune with the
baby will
Lord so you
solve
can be
the
on the
Right,
same
right.
page
With each other.
before you
Yeah.
insert another piece into that puzzle? So we had to get ourselves together. But I felt like once we did that, it was almost like we both were just kind of like, yeah, you know what? I think this is a good time. Yeah.
Were you at all like not afraid, but like this is a good time, we're in a good space? If we have a baby, that might that might complicate it, or
It's
is it like,
definitely well, Madison was a COVID baby, but we didn't have insight that was going to be like a period where everything was going to shut down anyway. But I mean, I'm a homebody anyway. This one, the extrovert,
gotta be outside.
he was like, I gotta be outside. He still be outside. There ain't nothing much change.
I'll be
gotta, like,
outside,
work
but
around
I
a little
be
bit.
Inside when I
You
need
be
to
inside more.
Yeah. I be inside when I need to be inside with the kids and making sure that it's like, oh, y'all learn. Yo, it's time to go to bed. All right, I'm out.
Right. But it was a lot easier back then. Like you said, being able to just up and go and just travel and just like not have to be accountable for anyone. Just be out living life, and you know, that part I kind of miss a little bit. But I don't know.
I feel like it was like a weird time for us because I got like I started the process to get the Villanova joint in February. April was like, all right, you got it. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'm like, all right, this is like a turning of a page.
Right.
So I kind of was in the mindset of like, oh, dang, like, this is like a good move. So I go to school and then like all this stuff will like pick up. So I'm like, am I really going to be like home really in time like to have a kid? So then June comes around. We go to the wedding. Ain't nothing to do in Pittsburgh. Crystal gets knocked up.
Don't blame it on Pittsburgh.
Like I said,
So
it
Pittsburgh
ain't
is
nothing to
responsible
do
for
in
Madison.
Pittsburgh. Yes.
That's a good summary of what happened.
I mean,
yeah.
So we like, all right, man, cool. So,
but I was up. Well, I mean, I stopped my birth control at that point.
And I'm about to say,
we basically made that decision. Like, all right, well, let's stop and like see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you know what eventually can happen, but you don't know the timing.
But I feel like so many people like that, especially that we know, is like you get off and it's like it might be a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of was in the mindset like, all right, it'll be a while. Like I got time.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, I got time. And then like, so like I said, it happens. So then it's like first day of school, I'm going in like, all right, Charles, like so. Just so you know, like my wife's pregnant. At some point, like I'm gonna just like not stop being, cause I was like the way the program is set up. It's like I'm there like probably like 14 hours a day. So it's like, and then still gotta come home like do homework. So I'm like, I really don't know when I'm gonna have time to like actually do stuff. Cause even like in the hospital, I'm like, all right, I know like I get like a paternity leave. So I was like, I just told my teachers like I'll probably miss class for like a week, and then I'm like I don't know what to do after that. And then, like, luckily, it was, like, literally, like, the second day we in the hospital, they sent the email out, like, yeah, school closed the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
And then, like, when we got home, I think, like, the day after we got home, they was like, we ain't coming back. So, like, that worked, like, COVID, like, worked everything out.
Did.
Because it was, like, I knew it was, like, all right, Crystal was going to be home, but it was just kind of, like, even now, the thought, I'm like, Crystal home, like, Maddie, like, all day for it. Even if you get, like, the 3-4 months, I'm like, that's going to be hectic. Like, so.
I mean, we made it work. And then luckily,
it worked out perfect.
Being able to, like, utilize our village to, like, help. I mean, I don't actually know how we would have been able to get through that time period the way that we did if we didn't have, like, family. Like, my mom, his mom, like,
Christian
they were working and they were able, his brother, like, or one of his brothers. So it's like that really helped us too, being able to have that support. Yeah, that was tough.
Oh, that was wild.
But we did it. We survived.
Y'all did it.
And I'm about to say.
And then we did it again.
That was all accident.
Like that.
Come
That was
on.
all-
You had this beautiful story for Madison.
Yo,
Right.
And then Mel like, that's
It
what I'm
wasn't an
saying.
accident. We didn't think it would happen as fast.
Nah.
That's
That was just like a drone where he's like, oh, like, yeah, just because they gave you the wrong birth control. Like, all right, your body got to, like, reset.
Oh yeah, I had to like detox.
So they was like, all right, you got to chill for a minute. And I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever. Like, I ain't gonna,
Pregnant.
like,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna stop doing what I'm doing. So,
Shaking my head.
then she pulled up, like, on my birthday. It was like, I'm pregnant. I was like, oh, no. Like, what? I was like, wait. I was like,
Yeah, I couldn't even wait till your birthday. I wanted to
Or day
wait
before,
and surprise
yeah.
him, and I was like,
Day
man,
before
this
my
is
birthday,
just
I was
too.
like-
I can't even hold on to this.
I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, nah, that was crazy.
But getting back to vision, I don't know how we got onto that.
I was
Like,
about to say,
we
That
didn't have
wasn't
one.
a vision.
that was not in the vision.
Part
No,
of the
that was
plan.
not in the vision.
That was
That
not
was
part
not
of the
in
plan.
vision. But like, I think the crazy thing is, one of the things you said was like, I think especially during COVID and all them times was like being able to sit back and reflect. I feel like it definitely made, I would assume everybody, but at least I know for us talking about it, like actually made us be like more intentional in how we were with like God and each other.
Right.
Cause I'm thinking it's like, was it during COVID that we started like the Bible playing joints?
Well, y'all had
Yeah.
y'all own little situation first, and I just kind of like
Ease
my
our way
way,
in.
ease my way up in the Bible land. Like,
Yeah,
add me to the next
yeah.
drawing.
Cause even like I think
I mean, at that time, everybody thought God was coming.
right.
Like, let me get it together.
Let's get it. Let's
Right.
tighten up now.
Leprosy and
Yeah,
all.
Right. Now,
Let's tighten up now.
right. Niggas definitely thought, oh, this is plague number one. Like,
Yeah.
but it's like I think during that time, especially, and at least from like my point of view, I think that's kind of where it's like even us as like friends kind of like took another step, because I think it was like, I think we all had like individual relationships with God, but it was just like we never did like stuff together,
Right.
with like actually like I guess like the worship or even like
We even
little
talked
stuff.
about it together, praying
Yeah.
together, like
We
none of that.
ain't do none of it, and it's not because it was like, oh, like this is out of it. It's just like I think it's just like not being intentional on like
Yeah.
certain things.
We were together. We were, and like I think too, like we knew like how strong our friendships were.
right.
But I think that put it into perspective. Losing so many people lost their lives. So many people lost
Yeah.
people in the midst of all of that. It's kind of like, no, okay, like now we got to be more intentional about our
Yeah.
friendships. We not just we gonna be lit,
Right.
but we also like let's pray. Let's
Yeah.
see, let's see, you know,
Nah.
what's going on in your life and what's going on in your marriage and how you you know that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I for sure
Yeah.
agree.
I'm trying to think what started. I feel like what started when y'all was leading the joint at y'all church.
Oh yeah,
The prayer line.
Oh, prayer line.
And it was like, come on, pray. I was like, what? Like,
Hey, man,
And
you
I asked
better
you to
get
pick-
on this prayer line.
Right. I was like, I don't like praying around the people, but like, if you want. But it's just crazy how, like I said, it went from that to like what it is now. Cause like even like to me, I'm like, in all like the couple goal stuff, I'm like the thing that I was probably like the most like proud of and like happy to see is like my man over here, Trusty Winter now. Like
Trusty in the
like, we
church.
met, he's Frank White. And now Trusty Winter.
Frank Wright, and now he the
It's
trusty
Winter. And that's dang. And Evangelist Keema. It's like,
Nah,
I'm like,
Oh yeah.
nah, don't even lie. I was like, we was the first prayer joint. I was like, Keema like praying like she
Oh,
like,
no, she
calling
prayed.
down
She
heaven.
prayed.
I was like, what the
Oh
heck?
my God.
She's a praying
Yeah.
woman.
I am Maddie Wilson's granddaughter.
Oh yeah.
But it's like that's one of the things to me. I was like, I don't think it would happen like with our group of friends, especially because it was like, I feel like most of the stuff we did is like it was like love and stuff there, but like a lot of it was like we were just like turning up and just
We also all were like, I think for sure, but we also was older.
yeah,
Like
Oh yeah.
More
y'all, you know, y'all,
Sure.
and that, obviously, like y'all having a child puts it in a different perspective, like life in a different perspective for y'all than COVID. All like I just think like, I think that was like our aha moment, and then like obviously like growing and having wisdom and like prioritizing other things. Like, I mean, sure, like we can go out for dinner and have a glass of wine, but like, are you okay?
Right.
Like that's what I care about. Like,
Right,
are you
right.
happy with your job? Do you okay? Let's figure out what is it that you want to do. Like, that is what I care about.
Yeah.
You know, at this age, and I think that's probably another thing that happened like with us too. Like we kind of like all right, get a little bit older. Let's start prioritizing some other things.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's the truth.
It is, but it's just one of the things like you don't think about it, and you don't like actually
Right.
like sit back and be like, I'm glad that happened. But it's like I am, and it's like I like
it was, and I feel sometimes selfish too when I think about like how beneficial COVID was. You know, for me, obviously it was just like a sad time. Like it was very like nervous, even like being pregnant during it too. Like we saw our family 3 times.
dang.
When I was pregnant. The first time was when we told my mother-in-law that I was pregnant. The second time was for the gender reveal. The third time was for the baby shower.
Wow,
And then they didn't
that's
see Maverick until he was like 6 months because we was not playing that.
it. Yeah, right.
So we were literally, which I think though too, like it also, in addition to like just, it really like strengthened our relationship because we were long distance for a lot. We were long distance for a while because Matt was still in
the bird.
Harrisburg.
I forgot about that.
Harrisburg, and so we would like just like full time, like all like living together like full time.
July 19th. Yeah, that's when I got the other job and I moved.
Oh yeah.
And then 2020. So it was like we was just like.
We were just like fully settled because we would do like he'd do like 4 days. We do 4 days in Jersey. Well, we had just moved to Connecticut. It's like 4 days there, then 3 days in Harris. Like like splitting it up. And now it's like okay, finally like we're in a good space. But then also like his commute to work was pretty crazy because we were living in Connecticut because my job was there, but he was working in New York, so he had to travel like a 4 hour like in total like a 4 hour travel, and that still was kind of like cutting time because you think about you at work for 8 hours,
right?
Then it takes 4 hours to travel, and it's like
see, this is the stuff that people don't see.
Yeah,
People don't see the behind the scenes, like
and even before we actually like decided to have Maverick or whatever, like during COVID, it was just a good time for us to like be together all day, every day. Like, and they say like either your marriage grew or you like needed to get divorced during COVID.
Right.
Like
Right.
either it grew
That's
stronger or you realized
facts.
you needed to have a divorce. And I'm like, this was also like I think for us like something from God, like before we even have a child, like spend this whole year together.
Yeah.
This whole year of just y'all two, and even I wish I could have had some of the help early. Well, we were lucky enough to have like our doulas and our midwives were really helpful in the beginning, but we didn't have family come over just because we was like, I saw y'all out, like I see y'all still outside, like you're not about to come over here breathing on my baby. My nephew was like, I'm about to come up there. I'm like, you're going to be stuck outside. Right. You are not coming in.
Like we saw your video, we saw your Instagram. You outside.
You outside.
My nephew was like, my nephew's a Q. He's like outside, like with all the cues, doing all the things, and thinking he's coming to my house.
Nah.
You're out of your mind.
Right.
Nah.
Man, that was a weird time.
But I thought even that was a good time just for it to be us and Mav, because it's like we like it would be helpful for sure, and of course, like I wanted our family around and being able to like do whatever. But it was also just a good time for it to just be us 3.
Yeah.
Because now that we back outside, it's always us. We're always
On the move.
everybody's at our house. We're at everybody else's house, like whatever. And it was like a really good time for it to just be like to start our family with just us 3.
Yeah.
All day, every day kind of thing.
I forgot about them Harrisburg commutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was.
Like,
that was tough.
Now,
that was dedication, but that's love though.
I used to go to like 4 podcasts.
Oh yeah.
4 podcasts a trip.
Your weekly podcast lineup.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Save it, for the whole trip. I was going Harrisburg to Connecticut.
That I never did that one.
That was.
I'm
That's
like, all right, we live in Connecticut now. You gotta figure out that because before I was going through Jersey to Connecticut, Jersey to Harrisburg, which wasn't bad.
Yeah, that's 2.5.
Yeah, that
3.
wasn't that bad. But Harrisburg was like 5 hours. I mean, Connecticut was like 5 hours.
Oh yeah, I know. I did that job. Like midnight too, because I had a night job.
Oh yeah.
So like I get off at midnight and then drive.
Gee.
And then sometimes when I get there, I just text her like, "Hey, I'm in the living room on the floor. I'm not taking a shower. I just want to sleep on the floor."
Right.
I'll wake up sometime. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
it worked out though, but it was tough. Like
Yeah.
then got another job and everything worked out. So
Yeah.
So how did you guys make time for like yourselves? Like when you have this crazy career. Yours is a little more settled now because you get to
Yeah.
work from home. But like, how do you make that work even? And then now you have a child that's like in the mix. So like, how do you make time for the couple?
It was during our time when Matt was still in Harrisburg. I used to feel like because we would all either I go there like on for the full weekend or he like come to Jersey. And I'm like, dang, I can't hang with my friends on a weekend because I gotta hang with my man. Like I gotta, like, do whatever. But I think it works out for us even now. Like, and we both like being home.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like we both like being home. We both like just chilling and like being low key. Like we'll go out like every now and then. But I think like just us being home, like watching TV together, eating a meal. Like we love
Spend that
food.
quality time.
So, like us, like usually Matt's cooking. And
I
I'm
was
eating.
gonna say.
yeah, I could throw down too.
Like,
Yeah,
but
I
that's
was
like
gonna say,
that's
that's
something
good.
that's like a happy place for him. I think before we used to one of the things that I think we want to really start doing again, and that we used to work out together. That was like us going to run together was like something that was really even like when we had Maverick when he was small enough to still be in the jogging stroller. Now I'm not putting him in that. No, I ain't pushing. We used to be running. Well, I used to be running. Matt used to be pushing him in the jogging stroller. I'm like, yeah, I don't need that extra weight.
Man.
I don't need that extra weight.
I was out though.
But like running together, I think
I was out. I had him. I was good with it.
that was something else. I think that that happened during COVID to us working like running
Oh
together.
yeah.
So I think there's just like things that we like we just trying to iron out time just for it to just kind of be us two even now. And I realized how important. I think there was a point for me after like giving birth and everything is about the baby. Like even everything that Matt is focusing on is on the baby. Everything I'm focusing on is on the baby. And like I'm like, okay. And I'm sure he felt the same way too. Like, hey, what about me?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
like I'm here too. And I'm like, yeah, but he like gotta drain me out because my breast is swollen right now. Like, he gotta- And so I think it was also too like I think my motherly like everything that I wanted to do at that moment was to pour into my child. And I'm like, you just gotta, understand that. And I think that was, to me, and it was kind of a little bit of rough patch, I would say. Like, after having a child and having to adjust that because it was always about Matt for me. Like, I was always like, if I'm not working, even like hanging out, I mean, I like hung out with my friends and stuff like that, but because we were long distance, I needed to like, okay, this is the time.
Yeah.
Like I, have to give him this, and it's not that I had to get it just to feed his ego. Like I wanted that too.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now it's like, no, this is like where my mind is, and what I want to do. And it was like, okay, how do we? And this is probably around the time where I started like going to therapy. I'm like, all right, because somebody gotta help me, because I can't like I don't know, and I'm like strong in my faith and I'm praying and I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm like, okay, no, I need somebody to actually like I don't even know what I'm feeling and what it is that I want or need, and so I like when I started therapy, it was like an eye opener on like this is fine because your life changed, and it's not as much as people try to say like like no, you can still have your old life, and no, you can't.
It genuinely is like I said, a pleasure to like actually like see y'all and actually like flourishing in like every way, where it's like relationally, financially, in jobs and career, and actually
in the church,
seeing like how about to say church, relationship with God. It's like being able to see all that and actually have like I said front row seat to like see it, and actually like being able to like serve y'all. Where like I said, if y'all asked to do like the prayer stuff or even like coming in and selling like at the events and stuff, it's like I truly like get joy from that, and being able to like said be just in proximity to y'all like and see it and actually be like, dang, like what can I do better, like because I see like, all right, this is how like they're working together and trying like to do that. So to me, I think that like outside like again like the glamour and things of that nature, it's like to me, that's like the goal of like, no, like it's actually like working with your spouse in all ways to be a better spouse. Like to me, that's the biggest goal that I like get from y'all. And so we end every episode asking a question, and y'all could just say a sentence or two, like, and each y'all answer is, so to y'all, like, what is the bright side of having that influence and having each other as a spouse?
You got it.
You want to probably steal one of my answers.
Probably. I'm gonna be honest.
I think the bright side for me is I get to do life with somebody who I really like. Like somebody who I think is like really cool, and who I know, like, even if he doesn't have the words, even if he doesn't know what it looks like, wants things to be the best for us, for me, for us, and for our family. And I think that is comforting to know, like, I have that, you know, like, and that doesn't necessarily have to be your, like, you know, in the marriage. Like, you can have a friend or whatever like that, but I'm fortunate enough to have that person all in one.
Yeah.
For, you know, we can grow together, and, you know, I can help him grow in the areas that he wants to, and, you know, he's been super supportive in my career, so I want to be able to, you know, support him in all of his endeavors. And I think it is, I'm very fortunate enough that I get to do that. Look at this one over here.
Oh, you like me.
A little bit.
A little bit. No, it's just important, just like you find your person, like somebody that's invested into you, somebody that ultimately wants the best for you, and, you know, doesn't want nothing from you. So, like, originally when we started dating, I just noticed, like, she was like a kind person, like really caring, really thoughtful, really about her family. And it's like certain stuff that you see she's accomplishing, it's like my family life was like all weird and stuff like that, spiritual life as well. But like she groomed me to be a better person. Like she ultimately was like the person that I needed to help me evolve as Matthew to be like the true person that I needed to be. So it's like, no, like she's a genuine person. She doesn't want nothing from me, you know, just some attention every now and then. You know? But it's like, it's kind of like great that you find like your person, the person that needs to push you to the next level, the person that ultimately cares about you, cares about everything that you're doing, and ultimately just want to see you happy. And it's like not too many people get to find that person. So it's like the fact that I have that, and you know, she's pretty cool. You know, she's funny too on the low.
On the low.
On the low.
I'm pretty funny.
She's hilarious.
I'll take that.
But you know, it's just like we have a bond, a connection that like really can't be broken for anybody. So it's like, you know, she pushes me to be a better person, which like I look at myself like 10 years ago, I was like, ew, you like this person? Like, I wasn't even cooking back then. Like, but it's like, no, like she really helped me be a better man, a better person, a better brother, a better son, a better man of God. So it's like, I'm internally grateful for what I have. So can't say enough words.
My man.
Dang.
That's beautiful.
Y'all gonna say y'all brace?
I love y'all.
No, the guests say that.
Okay.
We ain't nobody. We just a little host of a little show.
I know it ain't little. It ain't
Got production. We got lights.
We got lights. We got mics. We got lights.
Yeah. So, like I said, I thank y'all again for coming on. Like I said, genuinely love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And as we wrap up another episode of the show, we ask y'all to come follow us on Instagram at The Bright Side Show 23. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you would like to talk about, email us at thebrightsideshow23@gmail.com. And remember, no matter where you at, you can come join us on the bright side, because when you shine, everybody else gets to see a little bit better. We catch y'all next time. Peace.